So hi guys, today's episode is brought to you by Scottish Grappling. Scottish Grappling obviously finished out the year with the Glasgow Open over at Scotstoun. So James McIntyre and Gary Christie would like to thank everybody who attended the competitions throughout the year, both competitions and the SGI tournaments. So again, a big thank you from James and Gary. Next year, going to be moving on. First event of the year is going to be the Scottish BJJ Open. That's going to be held in Ravenscraig. It's limited to 300 competitors. It's going to be held on the 8th of February, Sunday the 8th of February. So again at the Ravenscraig Regional Sports Facility in Motherwell. To register, get yourself onto the Scottish Grappling website, which will then take you to SmoothComp. And SmoothComp, you'll be able to register for these competitions. As I say, the first one being the Scottish BJJ Open. Going to take them on to the SGI 7. So they've set a date, 14th of March, usual venue, at the Maryhill Community Hall. And within the next few weeks, obviously anybody looking to get their names forward for it, obviously just drop James McIntyre a message through the Scottish Grappling website. Scottish Grappling Facebook page, should I say. And they're then going to be looking to get matchups together, obviously matching people up. So anybody want to get their name in for that, just as I say, drop Scottish Grappling a private message on Facebook. They're going to be having an under 75 kilo championship tournament, as well as obviously square goal qualifying match. Anybody that's seen the square goal this year, obviously seen a fantastic event. It was well run, and so they're going to be looking to do that again. So obviously any gyms out there want to get a team together, then again just drop James McIntyre a message, and James will obviously look at the team and then try and get that team matched up with other likely teams. Again, there'll be some rules in regards to the square goal, in regards to weight and things like that. So again, James McIntyre will make that all clear through the Scottish Grappling Facebook page, as well as the Scottish BJJ community page. So again, keep your eyes out for that. But yeah, first event is going to be 8th of February, Sunday the 8th of February, Ravenscraig, and it's going to be the Scottish BJJ Open. Hi guys, welcome to StoomCast. So today's episode is brought to you with Lorna Kinnoch today. Lorna is a blue belt fighting out of higher level. Started off the year as a white belt, went to the Euros, took a bronze medal at the Euros, the first IBJJF competition. So did absolutely fantastic, taking a bronze medal there. Once she come home, she got a blue belt from Rick Young. And yeah, she's went on an absolute tear throughout the year, and winning a lot of medals, obviously winning IBJJF and silver medal in Rome, and various other submission onlys and things like that as well. So obviously Lorna was picked as well as the StoomCast Female Submission of the Year. She was voted by quite a few people, actually voted for her submission at SGI, where she armbarred Lisa. A very, very emotional win for her, as anybody that was at that SGI did see that. So obviously Lorna, we've got Lorna on the show, on the podcast today. We missed the first 20 or 30 seconds of the call, so we'll pick up from where we started from.
My dad's, but that's not for girls. They're very, girls sports, boys sports in some regards. Mm-hmm. So I was never allowed to do it. And I'd been put into dancing and ballet and things like that instead. Was never allowed to punch anyone in the face, officially. And I'd seen this gym. I won't name it in case I say anything bad about it later. But I'd seen my first gym. It was above a supermarket in Edinburgh. And I'd walked past it on the way to work and the way back. And I'd seen people kickboxing. And I thought that was great. And I just had a bad breakup, I needed something to focus on, and I'd gotten really bored in the gym, like the normal people gym, as I call it these days, which like I tried to love, but you know what it's like after work, it's heathen, and you can't get anything you want, and it's not that exciting. So I went in and I was doing kickboxing, and I saw people rolling around on the floor afterwards, and I was like, so bizarre. Because I hadn't heard of the UFC or anything at this point. I'm not someone that came into the sport having seen it somewhere. I didn't know what it was, and I said, excuse me, what is this BJJ? And I basically said, like, I want to go, but I don't know how. I think that's the thing. If you ask someone in the street, show you a punch, they've got like I feel like a frame of reference, right? Whereas if you go to that same person and say, show me a guard or an Americana, you'd get a funny look. So I had no idea what I was looking at. But he basically literally said, get on that floor and sit on that girl. I remember, who's someone in Florencia, I still know her now. She went to Rex afterwards as well. So yeah, and that's just how it started. And like most people, completed session really quickly.
And then for you, I mean, so what was, that was your first gym that you went to, so when was it you went over to Rick's? When did that happen?
That was a year and a half in. It's really tricky because people ask me how long I've been training, and I guess it's officially just been 3 years this month. That first year and a half, because of the gym there was no gi, only, as in only no gi, and it was all I think like most people, your first gym, you don't question it for quite a long time because you don't know anything else to compare it to. But then I left for a bunch of reasons a year and a half in and went over to Rex, which was the most massive culture shock ever. Two complete opposite ends of the spectrum, those two gyms. But I knew quickly that I'd gone in a year and a half and I thought, we're probably coming up for a blue belt. And I was getting smashed by white belts of like a month. And I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe how good they were. I was getting absolutely destroyed. And I think I've seen a lot of people subsequently come into it because I still visit about once a week. Guys from other gyms that are looking for a new gym. And when that gym subsequently closed this year, a lot of people came over to give it a go. Yeah. And you see their faces when they're getting mashed by these guys that have been training 6 months. And some of them, there's one guy, Richie Cameron, that's joined Rick's, and he just was like, this is amazing, the standard is obviously great, I want to have what they're having, I want to do what they're doing. But some people come in and they just can't take it. It's just too hard of too hard of a pill to swallow. So the Rick's a year and a half in, and then I was at Rick's for I think I joined Rick's properly like March of last year, and then I moved to high level June of this year, so just over a year with him. Yeah.
And obviously Rick's, that's where you, I mean, obviously when I first met you in December, I mean, when you came over, your game was very good for being a white belt at that point. And I remember obviously me and you rolling, and obviously because I'm a bigger guy, obviously it's not that I go easy. I know my limits when I'm rolling with a kind of smaller person, a whiter person. Okay, so but then I remember like into the roll, and you were doing all this fucking mad shit. You were going upside down and all that, and then I remember thinking, shit, she's better than. So maybe I need to up it a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So, but you had no fear. That was the thing I remember, because you were like, yeah, Stuart, you want to roll? And I'm like, yeah, no problem, let's go. And you had absolutely no fear in regards to this guy's probably double my weight and things like that. He's bigger than me, but as I said, you had no fear, and I noticed that as well when you were at the Euros. You went in there, and as I said, you had absolutely no fear. You just went in and you done exactly what you were supposed to do. So again, is that something? Yeah, well, there's that.
I was just saying, it's funny that you say that, because I feel like you couldn't be more wrong in many ways. Like, I had so much fear and all those things. I remember when I was at Marcus's, I'd got a big black eye and my legs were like absolutely bruised to pieces. Yeah. And I remember sitting in the women's changing rooms one night and just crying between rolls. I just cried my eyes out. Yeah. I was getting so beat off, and I felt terrible about myself, and I felt like I was getting just those bad nights. And And I took on at that time before the Europeans. I haven't really spoke to him about it. I took on a sports psychologist called Alan Whitting, and he's quite well known. He works for Dan Strauss, Raspberry, and people like that.
Yeah.
And I took him on because, like, my anxiety around jiu-jitsu, which had always been there, got like, completely out of control. I had no self-confidence. I couldn't tell anybody I was doing the Euros, first of all. When I registered, I whispered to Rick that I'd signed up for the comp and could he sign me off for it. And he thought, oh, what are you doing? And I just couldn't say it because I thought it was really embarrassing that anyone would think that I thought I could do something like that, even at white belt. It just seemed such a grand thing to do. And I couldn't believe, I just kept saying, I'll go for the experience, and, like, we did, I'll probably get knocked out the first round, and I really believed I would. And, like, I don't know if you saw my face after I won the first match. It was an absolute shock. But what the work with him did was it made me sort of the focus, the calm on what I was doing, and lots of exercises and things I worked with him on, and it got me to at least looking like or feeling on the day that I was focused on what I was there to do, but actually the lead up to it and that sort of training camp, if you will, like, was some of like the hardest months of training, because I honestly, like, at that time at the end of my white belt, I wish I'd done more competitions like that, because I didn't think I was good enough to do it, because I had absolutely no self-confidence. It's something I've only just found in the last 6 months, probably, some confidence now. And it, obviously you just perform so much better if you believe that you can. But Euros was that turning point. When I came home, I when I got the result that I did, and I phoned my dad, and I told him, I was like, I just got a medal at the Europeans, but I just burst into tears, happy tears, bridging, because I just couldn't believe it. And since then, it's that thing of, like, that seems like the most impossible thing in the world for me then. And, like, white belt Euros will mean nothing to so many people, but to me, it was like, Rick always says, it's your Olympics. It doesn't matter what it is for you, it's your Olympics. So yeah, funny that you say that. I've had comments recently at Sub-Only things. People are like, how are you so chilled? I'm like, I'm the least chill person.
And obviously that takes me on, obviously, the Euros, because I remember, obviously, you went out, you won, I think it was your first 2 matches you won, and then you lost the third match. And then I remember shouting down to you, I was saying, you've won a medal, and you're like, what? No, I lost. And I'm like, no, because obviously the amount of people in the group, basically what happens is the third and fourth person, they don't fight each other. You get a bronze because obviously you were in the semi-final. And I remember you looking up thinking, is that right? And I'm like, yeah. And I remember you bust out crying at that point, thinking, I've won a medal, because obviously it must have clicked at that point, thinking I've just won a bronze medal. And how was that feeling? I mean, obviously you mentioned that.
I obviously just didn't know how it worked, first of all, which is really embarrassing now. I had no idea. You told me that, and I think I remember being, like, really indignant and be like, no, I haven't. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. There are 21 people in this bracket, and blah, 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 blah. I was just shocked. It's so funny, but, like, hindsight, because that was only, like, 10 months ago. That was the biggest thing in the world for me, and how my expectations for myself have moved on now. Like, when I got the silver in Rome, I was, like, furious with myself. I was like, I was so close to being a champion, whereas white belt bronze just 10 months before was, like, the biggest achievement of my life. So I was so shocked. And having you guys to share it with was amazing. I think that was something I probably struggled with when I was in Rome. I came off, I was completely by myself, and just had to deal with the emotion of it, like, either way on my own. I'm always really jealous of people that go out in big teams. But yeah, amazing day. Like, it's framed, it says novice in giant letters, I remember they gave me a circle one. Every other, all the other brackets got square medals, but the white belts got circle medals because we weren't worthy yet. And then I said, I'm going to get a bloody square IBJJF medal this year, and I did, and I was like, there we go, and it doesn't even say novice.
Oh man, that's brilliant. And then you're known, for me anyway, whenever I see you, you're known to me, not just through your jiu-jitsu, but you're very emotional as well. And I know we had a laugh about this on Saturday at SGI, whereas, as I say, when we were at the Euros and I told you won a bronze, I think you were emotional before it, and then when I told you won the bronze, and then it clicked, and then you realised you'd won a bronze, you were then emotional again. And then I remember the girl that won the bracket got her blue belt, and you were emotional at that as well. So
it
was just
it doesn't take a lot.
So it's good. It's good to have them emotions because obviously in jiu-jitsu, as we know, it's a hard road that we go down. So for anybody to have emotions like that and to show the emotions, especially when you win a medal or something happens, to have them emotions. So is that something that's important to you as well?
Yeah, I mean, I've become really defensive of it recently, almost. Someone came up to me in the gym recently, because I was really injured, I was really frustrated, and I was having, I wasn't crying, but, my eyes were welling up, I was really frustrated that I couldn't roll, and I had a competition coming up, because I was really, really badly injured before the Euros, and he's like, oh, you don't really hide your emotions very well, do you, Lorna? And I didn't even come from a bad place, but I just said, no, I don't see why I should have to. And when I was in Rome for the Euros, I bumped into Emma Percy, who's this amazing female purple belt. People probably know her. I'd never met her, and I fangirled a little bit. And she was talking about the fact that, she cries almost every comp, and, she was like, that's just my process, and that's cool. Yeah. And I thought it was amazing to hear. It's maybe in part that I'm in such a male-dominated sport that, there isn't a lot of that. It's usually me, but actually, when I go to these competitions and I meet other women, brown belts, black belts, purple belts, and they all talk about the same experience, but they get emotional because they are just, often more emotional. Not every woman, obviously, and some guys will be the same way, but that's just part of it for them. I think it's different though, depending on whether it's sort of anxiety led. For me, I struggled really, really badly with panic attacks and anxiety in the sport and competing. If it's related to that, that's something I obviously want to reduce because it's a really sort of negative and performance limiting thing. But if I'm crying happy tears because I've won a medal, or sad tears because I'm frustrated because I'm injured, I kind of like to allow myself and other people to have that, because actually the feeling of being really ashamed and embarrassed and feeling you look stupid just makes it worse. And someone from Rex told me once that he told me off. He was basically saying, when you get upset in the match, you're making other people feel bad, you're making them feel crappy about themselves, like it's their fault. And that was quite hard to hear, and I was like, well, everyone makes them feel like it's to do with them, and I always try and say, because people look at you, this is wide-eyed, what did I do? What have I done to you? And I'm like, no, it's not you, this is just me. I'm going to go take a moment, and I'll be back. But, I'm hoping, as the sport goes on, it's not, as we get more and more different types of people from different backgrounds, different, that's less of a problem. My coaches have always been amazing for it. Rec, I remember my first week at Rex, and I was like, when's it going to happen? It'll happen. It's not been today, and then it happened. And I remember Rex just came into the bathroom and he brought me a mug of peppermint tea. And I thought that's just the most lovely thing. He's so kind. And then James and Dylan, where I'm now, he's so good about it. He just gets it, and he checks in on me later. And, all these coaches and teammates, for the most part, are just amazing about it. So it's never that big of a problem anymore. Yeah,
listen, Listen, the crying thing, I remember going to the Worlds, 2015, and I remember going over there myself, and I remember going over there excited. I'd won 7 competitions, gold at that point, up to that point. I won the IBJJF British, so I went over there, and everybody I trained with were like, you're going to win this, you're going to win this. So in my head, I'm going over there to take this World Championships, and I remember going in and coming up against big guy Michael Whalen, a good friend of mine now, and I remember I ended up losing that first match 4-0. So you got a takedown, you got a knee on belly, and that was all we can do. And I couldn't, for the life of me, I couldn't get up, I couldn't do anything at all. And I remember coming off after it. I remember being on the phone to my wife, crying. Right, and I was sitting there and I'm laughing on the phone. I'm like, I'm a big guy, jiu-jitsu guy, all this bravado, and here I am bawling my eyes out. And it is. I mean, it's not just for yourself. I mean, it's there's a majority.
I mean, we put so much of ourselves, like for the most of us, put so much of ourselves into our sport. We put so many hours. We cut weight. With so much dedication, so huge ambition, and like you say, people build you up in your head, and you have so much expectation in yourself. Like, it can be so hard. Sometimes just like a bad night of training can just leave you a wreck, and you feel terrible, and your confidence is shattered. And it's how do you cope with that, and how you pick yourself back up and put it in perspective, and it's meant to be fun, and you meant to enjoy it, because sometimes it gets so serious and it feels like a job, which is ridiculous. You know, I thought I'd send voice notes to my friend Laura Power, who you know from Euros, and seeing her at the weekend. She's back over tomorrow. We'll send each other voice notes and be like, this man was really mean to me, and or I didn't do anything right today, I'm terrible at jiu-jitsu. And we're so funny, and it's so important and nice to have someone like that, I think, especially if you're like me, often the only woman on the mat, to have someone that gets it. It's why I love spending time with like some of the women I've met in the sport in other countries, because they so get it.
Yeah, definitely. And then that's one thing as well. I mean, I remember talking to Fionn Davies. Obviously I had to drive her back and forward to Dundee. Obviously did the seminar up there, and I remember I was talking to her, and she was saying for her, she doesn't think in her head that she doesn't think she's good at jiu-jitsu. And I remember hearing that, and I remember her telling everybody in the seminar, she's like, she doesn't, not that she doesn't think she's good, she doesn't think she's as good as she actually is. So she was very kind of, she said the hardest person on her was herself. I mean, I went over to train with her at the start of the year. I went over to her gym in Ireland and did a private and the women's class, and I've sort of kept in contact since, and I saw her in Rome. And then at the seminar, and every time I hear her talk on podcasts and things, it's like exactly what you're saying. It's like, she's so relatable. She's such a normal person who's exceptional at what she does. But when you hear that, it's that, you're right, it's that we all feel these things. And then it's quite easy to look at like Gordon Ryan's Instagram and be like, should I be like that? Do I need to have this ultimate confidence? But actually, you know, someone like her who's, I forget, is younger than me, from the UK, that's doing what she's doing, and she has those feelings too, and it's really, really normal. Listen, it's normal for everybody. Definitely normal for everybody. I mean, I don't know how many times I've went to the gym and you've come out the gym and you think, shit, nothing's working. Do you know what I mean? Like, and you go like that for maybe a couple of weeks where you'll be like, do you know what I mean? Everybody's tapping me, and then suddenly that one day, as you mentioned earlier, one day you're going in there and you're the one that's tapping everybody. Do you know what I mean? And then so we all have the roller coaster of emotions. So
for sure, I say to there's a new girl that just started with us, a girl, which is exciting, and she was talking about how she felt terrible and everyone was being, and I was saying, you know, as a small, like a light woman, you've got, I think your training a lot of the time is like learning to run a marathon underwater or something, or with ankle weights on, and that when you actually come to do the marathon, you don't have those things, and you skip through it, and it feels so much easier. And I think competing as a light woman, or I don't know, maybe a light man, I've never been one, I can tell you, is like that. But because I constantly have to remind myself that there's very good reasons I don't compete in the heavyweight male purple belt division. So why am I comparing myself to how I perform against those people?
Definitely. And then another one as well is the SGI. I remember you at the SGI. You fought Lisa.
More crying.
But you'd originally. I remember when I was talking to you after, and I was like, "Why are you crying? You won." And you're like, "Do you know what, Lisa? When Lisa had beat you as a white belt in a competition." And I remember you saying Lisa was one of the kind of girls that you looked up to, and for you to get that win, not just get that win because obviously you'd been beaten before, but to get that win against Lisa at that point for you was fantastic. I've subsequently described this as my Nadia Bake Off moment, if you know what that means. No. Like when Nadia won the Bake Off and made her speech, and she was like, "I'll never doubt myself again." It was totally that. I'm part of it. I'm trying not to be too insulting. The first gym that I was at, being there and it not being the right place for me, meant that I was very behind, I would say. And I went into a competition. I think that competition was like 11 months in,
and then I did another one. In my first 2 competitions, I got smashed by everyone, and I don't mean like, you know, like 10-2. I got smashed 28-0, I think, and or around that in most of my matches. And Lisa was one of them, and she just bulldozed me.
Yeah.
So I came to believe that I was just really period. And I think it's a lot like if you're really overweight when you're younger and you lose that weight, you never lose the feeling of, you know, being the fat kid. Yeah. I think my experience of starting out competition being a lot worse than everybody, and it took me a really long time, and I'm still doing it, to shake the feeling that I'm a massive underdog. And I'm just lucky when I win. I need to start, you know. So that the Euros was a big part of that, and that was January, and then SGI. So for context, I put my name in, and then I got a message being like, would you take Lisa? And I was in Estonia at the time, and I was messaging Laura, and I was like, I can't do this. She's so good. She'll flatten me in front of everyone. Oh my God, this is terrifying. Should I take it? Should I take it? And she was like, Laura was saying, you know, of course you can do it. Look how much you've improved. Of course you can. And I said, she smashed me not that long ago. So I took it, and I was shaking, and I pressed the button, go, right, send, I'll take it, I've done it. And yeah, so when I won, I was so shocked. I just collapsed in the middle of the match. Jazz Garcia was looking at me like, what is she doing? And that's why I got so emotional. I think people thought it was really over the top. Which probably looked that way. There's some really funny pictures of it. Yeah. But it was such a... I can't do these things, and I just taken on my sponsor as well at that point, Fundamental Health Scotland, and so that was trying to undo a lot of my sort of insecurity about being the sort of scrawny, noodle-armed one in the division. I was increasingly, especially at the Euros, facing these ripped lightweights, like people like Jamie Middleton, who's just in such great shape, like real athletes, and I'd never been an athlete in anything, and I think it showed. And trying to get stronger and bigger for the division, which like they've helped me move enormously. So it was a combination of things. Basically, me sitting there going, "I can do it. I can do the things. Yay!"
But that was the thing. I mean, anybody that didn't know, obviously there was people in the SGI that night that would have known why you were emotional. Okay, so obviously for me especially, I knew because I remember speaking to you before it, and then so I knew for you winning that night, for you beating Lisa, that for you that was a big stepping stone, so to say. So,
she's incredible. Like you just can't. You can't overlook her. She's an awesome athlete, huh? You mean you train with her often, you know? Yeah, savage.
She's again one of these people that come in and she's got absolutely no fear about who she rolls with, and she'll be she'll roll with me and she'll be attacking me. And I remember one time, we started slap bump and went to roll, and she come underneath and jumped on my back. So and I was thinking, and I was laughing. I'm thinking, Lisa, what are you doing? And she's like, just keep going. She's trying to choke me and everything, and I'm like, Lisa, man, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. So
also, when her boyfriend is Alex, like he corners her in Russian, it's terrifying. Let's not overlook that. I am always on the floor like, this is like James Bond's baddie, and I don't know what you're saying, which is unfair. I need someone to translate.
Yeah, no, there's something about that Russian language you get. Yeah, man, it sounds terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
It does.
So, but that was for you. That was a big win, and again, that was one of these wins. Again, it installed more confidence in you to go out and do other things. So, is that what you felt? Is that you felt that gave you that little bit extra confidence to go out and do other things that you've done throughout this year?
Yeah, and every time I do something, it sounds like so false to say, but it's genuinely true. Every time I've done something this year, I thought, I'll go in and I'll give it a go, probably lose. And then I do it and I win it, and I'm so shocked at myself. Yeah. And I go home and I go, man, I did it. And I'll try another thing. And this year's just been that on repeat, essentially. So, the Euros, And then I did my first blue belt competition on the high of that, and then I got double gold. You remember that? Do you remember when I got slammed?
Yeah.
And I looked up at you, and I was like, Stoom, what's going on?
Because I remember the slam. I remember she'd picked you up, but obviously with a slam, they're meant to pick you up from above a certain height. Usually it's if they stand up with you. And then I remember looking at you thinking, are you okay? And you were kind of looking at me like, yeah, I'm fine. So I was like, then I let it go, and then the girl tried to knee bar you straight after it. And I'm like, oh my God, man. So...
And part of me was sort of like, cool, but then I was just in disbelief.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Yeah.
well, how can you not know the rules? Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so that had happened, and then I did SGI, and I won that.
Yeah.
And then I did a couple other sub-only shows, and I won those. And I think, until Rome just gone by, I was unbeaten at blue belt lightweight. I'd been got by Helen, and then absolutely, who just got a purple belt, so don't feel too bad about that. She was in the heavier weight category, but I hadn't lost anything at blue light, which was amazing. Not that I'd done loads and loads.
Yeah.
So just kept building on it, and then to have done what I did in Rome, because it was my first really big blue belt competition, and I thought I'd go in, see what a real blue belt is, get smashed. And especially the day before, looking at the brackets, I always make the same mistake. I look at the brackets, I look up the girls on Instagram, I see that they're international judo black belts. I sit in the tremor for a little bit. And then, James Doolan's last words to me before I left the trip was, don't overthink it, dude. And then immediately, so should I jump guard? Should I pull guard? Freaking out. And convince myself she'll come out like a savage and throw me in my head. And then it goes the complete opposite way. I felt like a monster. I think I broke her arm, did something wrong. And it just kept going through the bracket. It was unreal. So feeling super, for the first time, super hopeful and good that I've got so much time at this belt, because who doesn't at blue? I'm 10 months in. Well, what I can achieve with the rest of it, it's just exciting now, rather than a sort of feeling of dread.
Well, definitely for what you've achieved so far, just this year, not including just in blue belt, but this year in general, obviously with the Euros win, the bronze medal in January. So everything that you've done this year, I mean, you're just getting better and better. So it's for you, it's just the beginning as well. And that's the scary thing. I mean, if you're keeping going the way you're going, then potentially you're going to be a world champion. I mean, I remember when you got your bronze, then you got your silver, and I remember me saying to you, well, next one's definitely gold. So you can only go bronze, silver, gold. So I mean, I'd say I've been lucky enough to follow you throughout. As we've had a number of conversations on Facebook Messenger and stuff like that about different things, obviously jiu-jitsu. And I mean, I'm obviously excited to see exactly what you're going to do next. So,
thank you. I mean, that's I am too, but then I might go and completely wash out with something, so who knows, it's all to play for. It's just, I've got some big goals coming up with some shows I want to do. I want to get on Battle Grapple. I'd really like to be in the Grapple Fest. I don't know if I have an undercard, but at some point where I know they're really picky about who they take, I'd love to do that. And as I said, I want to take some big IBJJF comps, another Euros, and then the biggie at Worlds, which is a whole beast to itself. But just throwing myself at things, seeing what sticks, and hopefully, some more medals that don't say novice on them.
Well, you've got one of the square ones now, so...
I do. I have two of the square ones. Wait, I think they're both square. They were both square. Terribly exciting. I remember on the way back from Gears, they told me they had to put my hand luggage in the hold and my medals in it. I was like, absolutely not. And they were like, we have to. And I was like, can I take something out of it? And they were really, so And I took out my medal. Complete idiot with my white belt medal, sat on the plane clutching it, saying this will never be taken from me. And then it was the same on the way back from Rome. I went through security, and then they took my bag and they took me to a side to this place, and they're like, we need to go through your bags. And in broken English we sort of said, is there anything large and metal in there? And I was like, why yes there is, thank you. And took my medals out of a plastic bag, because obviously you don't do that. And the guy was like, "Oh, gold, winner, gold," because you know how the IBJF bronze looks really gold.
It does, yeah.
And then I had to explain to him. I was like, "No." He was like, absolute twisting a knife. I was like, "No, bronze." He was like, "Prime or something like that." I was like, "No, not prime."
Well, that was the same. When I remember my first IBJJF was the British, and I remember winning gold at that.
Wow.
And I remember wearing the medal on the train home. So I was actually wearing the medal, and I had it kind of under my GB hoodie, and
classic.
it was zipped down a little bit just so people can see the glint of gold, and see the actual lanyard type thing. So, but I remember wearing it all the way home. I remember getting off the train, and walking around the GB and getting up. It was like fucking 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, and I remember standing there.
Like, make way for the champ.
Yeah,
make way for the
standing
champ.
there outside GB getting a picture taken. My wife was picking me up, and I was like, "Yeah, we need to go around to GB." So I remember getting a picture. The whole place was closed. The shutter was down, and I'm standing outside GB at fucking 12 o'clock at night getting a picture taken, standing wearing this gold medal.
I mean, I happen to know that Tom Hepburn cycles home with his belt on every time he gets a new one,
right?
Like around his clothes. He's told me this, that every time he's been promoted, he cycles home with the belt around his waist. So I'm really stoked to see if he gets a brown belt soon, because I want to see that happen in real life.
It's brilliant. It's amazing. I mean, the little bits of cotton that goes around your waist, a belt or a medal or something like that, and yeah, man, we love it. We love this stuff, do you know what I mean? So,
it's just a little like token of all the hard work and all the people that have helped you. Like, I think the medals are as much for everyone else, right?
Yeah.
Like, I always bring them in and like show Rick. I'm like, look what we did. I still do that. Yeah. And Johnny Martin, like all those people that still help me out, even though I'm not at that gym full time. Yeah. It's so nice to share it.
Yeah. Nah, it's good. It's good. I said, whenever I won anything, I was always, do you know what I mean? This isn't about me. I'm just a guy that goes out in the mat. This is for my team, and I remember the guys. I always just shout out Graham McQuiston and Mike Coya and every training, but everybody you seem to have rolled with, I put it in a comment, a comment on Facebook, so it's like a big fucking long-winded comment. No, like
I mean, it's not for me, but it's also I will be the one keeping it.
Yes.
It's for you guys, but I'll have it framed somewhere. So just so we're clear.
Yeah.
Definitely for me.
Did you ever do the thing? I mean, there's a few people I've spoke to, and especially like when they won their first IBJJF medal or whatever, and when they come home. I remember when I came home and I was sitting on a couch and I'd say to my wife, "Can you make me a cup of tea?" And she'd be like, "No," and I'd be like, "But I'm the British champion." So,
I happen to live alone and I'm very single, so first of all, thanks for rubbing that.
No, I mean, with your family, you go home with your family. And,
I mean, at work, they put it into a presentation, which I didn't know was happening. That was mortifying. It was like at the end of a department meeting, and it was like me standing there on a podium. They're absolutely mortified. And people still call me like the champ, the European champ, and sometimes I correct them. Right. But not always.
No, that's good. It's always good. As I said, any medal, especially IBJJF medal. I remember saying that to you. Any medal that you win at IBJJF's a good medal, whether it's a bronze. Obviously, you want the gold, but bronze, silver, or gold. Especially some of the divisions at the IBJJF. I mean, you could be in a division with 100 people.
If I got a division of 100 girls, I would be floored.
But
if that happens,
even if
we're going that way, it's going to happen. Just not.
It's going to happen. I mean, you'll get to I think purple belts or brown belts, and there'll be 100 people. But remember, even though there's maybe 100 people in the division, you've still only got maximum 7 fights top.
Yeah.
So, because I remember like some of the guys in my gym, they're like, "Oh, I've got 100 people in it. Oh my god, how many fights is that?" And you're like, but there's only going to be like 5, 6, 7 fights at the most. So,
although, like, respect to those guys doing 10-minute like the brown and black belts. Is it black belts that do 10-minute matches and browns at 8 or something.
Yeah.
Imagine doing 7, 10, like that's over an hour of competing is a lot, isn't it?
It is.
I'm quite grateful for my 6 minutes just now.
And then obviously for you, I mean, when you're going to competition, so what's obviously you mentioned the psychology part, but when you go to competitions, how is it you prep? I mean, do you need to cut a lot of weight to go to the competitions, or typically what's their most?
Yeah, so I can do a lightweight, which is 61.5 no gi, 64 in a gi.
Yeah.
And I probably walk around high 62s, maybe 64. So I do cut the weight. I don't cut the water. I just started working with unorthodox nutrition. I made quite a long post about this on Instagram when I was in Rome, because I was quite open about the fact that I was really starting to struggle with the weight side. It was really putting, like, I almost just stopped competing because the sort of anxiety of it. I find it really, really difficult because I saw some of the questions people had left for me when they were at work, and I have a pretty intense career sometimes, and I'm working all day, I'm training all night. The sort of the food side is really, really tricky, but yeah, I will drop the weight. I'm working on my leg at Unorthodox now, so we did a 8-week weight cut in the Rome, which is amazing. It was the healthiest, best, strongest I've ever felt. I came in at 57 kilos for that, which was very light for me. And I'm starting to work with him again next week, actually. I basically asked him, can you teach me how to eat? Like, I'm fed up with this all or nothing. Like, I'm eating incredibly well, or I'm eating whatever I want, and not able to say no to a biscuit at work that becomes 10. How can I eat flexibly in a way that allows me to have a social life, that I don't have to say no to everything, that I can feel good, have variety, not feel like I'm on a strict meal plan all year round? Because if you can do as much as I do, that eating part, it can consume your life, to be honest. And every decision comes down to, well, what did I weigh this morning, and fluctuations in it. So the weight side has been a huge thing for me. So I really like sub only, because I can weigh in the morning or the night before. It is really nice. Just chuck me the bath full of salt, and then I'll be back to right back how I've got to do it. But no, for the actual IBJJF stuff, where it's do you know what that's it's at any moment someone could offer you a single gummy bear and you're like, I cannot have a single gummy bear, and you're like, why? It's not going to stick your weight. But then in your mind you're thinking, I paid all this money to go to another country, all this expectation, people who know I'm doing it, I prepped for months. Imagine if I get there and I'm 0.1 over, I'm disqualified, I will curse the day I ate that one gummy bear. So food wise, it's tricky. I find that really hard. And I don't feel like I have the build or the middleweight would be what I would say. Some of the girls, the top specimens that you get at IBJJF and bracket is terrifying as well. I don't know if you found that with the guys divisions, like what you would consider a whatever weight, and you see the IBJJF ones and you're like, wow, you're big.
I mean, I did the first IBJJF I went in, I was under 100. The first IBJJF Euros I did, I went in under 100 kilos, and I wasn't out of place. I was actually winning my fight up until the last 20 seconds, and then got fucking belly to back suplexed by this Sambo world champion.
Wow.
So I lost it in the last 20 seconds. I just always remember Marcos like, no, Stuart, don't do anything stupid. And I done something stupid and fucking ended up losing. So I wasn't out of place. But then the last Euros I went to, where I went in and I thought, do you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to enjoy Christmas, New Year. I'm not going to bother. I'm going to go in the ultra heavyweight division, which was the wrong thing to do. Absolutely wrong thing to do. I went in, I came up against the world's #1 blue belt in the ultra heavyweight division. And he kicked my ass. I remember he tried to take me down a couple of times, he couldn't do it, and I thought, I might actually feel okay here. And I went to foot sweep him, and he just absolutely done me, and that was it. So I mean, the weight's a big thing. I mean, you can go in that one weight above and get absolutely destroyed, and it could only be, you can only be a few kilos of a difference. So
yeah, absolutely. It's a funny one, that, you know, it shouldn't be such a big part of it, but it is. It's just the way it is. And I remember, because I had initially decided I was going to do Europeans at middleweight, and Johnny Martin, I don't know if you know him, he told me that. He was like, no, you're not. He's like, those girls will be cutting from heavyweight to get there. You don't want to be fighting those girls. If you can get there healthily, do it. But I think the biggest learn from me, from Mike, is not just being like, right, day one diet, cutting down to like the base calories you want to be at. It's actually that tapering down, and how do you taper things as you go and track the weight loss, and don't just go balls to wall from day one. Feel terrible and just absolute like highest calorie deficit you can do straight away. And I felt so much healthier. And I remember when I saw the diet plan he gave me, and I was used to thinking, you know, well, we'll have like no carbs here, and we'll have plain rice here, and this here. And he was asking me to have a curly whirly before bed. And I thought, this is amazing. And then there was like Kit Kats and yogurt. So a load of healthy, like traditionally thought of healthy stuff as well, don't get me wrong, but it was so balanced. And of course, as we went on, some of those things came away, and portions got smaller, and we also got higher, and things like that. But I was just amazed that you didn't have to immediately go to chicken, rice and broccoli. You know, and finding that balance, and having someone to text if something goes wrong and you've got to go to a work dinner, you can't bring your Tupperware box, what do you do now? And almost outsourcing the anxiety to someone. And then also the strength and conditioning parts being huge. As I said earlier, with Simon and Johnny at Fundamental Health Scotland, who it's essentially a partnership of guys who've been in the jiu-jitsu game for well over 10 years. Who specialise in this sports massage, strength and conditioning, so they know what they're talking about on both sides, which is so helpful. And just the people have commented not knowing, and think, what have you done? Have you put, like, you feel like so much stronger? Because I was admittedly very weak before. I think I felt that at the Euros in January when I had to stand up with a girl's clothes guard around me, and I wasn't feeling so hot about it. Like, she had a voice like Bay in a square jaw and like shoulders wider than my front door. I'm not going to say anything, but
one thing as well. I mean, you travel all over the place, because obviously we see your Instagram pictures and obviously Facebook pictures as well. I mean, you like to travel to do jiu-jitsu. Obviously you mentioned going over to train it with Fion, and obviously you've met a lot of people on your journey as well. So again, is that something that's important for you to go out and to be able to travel and to go out and see these people and train in other gyms?
Yeah, I mean, I do that at home and away. So I'm training at the Grip House tomorrow. I do Rick's on Friday, higher level Saturday. I still do it. I kind of have a bit of a problem with people with this sort of, you must only ever be at your home gym, you must not attend seminars at the gym mentality. I think it's really damaging. I think, what was it, James Cox said, I had more clubs than Tiger Woods. Classic. I love training other gyms when I'm at home for Christmas. It's such a good opportunity to come see the Glasgow gym, see Marcos, who's so like generous to me, and the Grip guys are the same. But yeah, then when I go away, I mean, I've solo travelled for longer than I've done jiu-jitsu, but then there was that moment, the light bulb went off, where I thought, well, I can travel and do jiu-jitsu in all of these places, which has been really fun. I mean, sometimes you go to these really developed, like Pret's gym in Estonia, Jits Vulcan, I think is the screen name of it, and he does all the Globetrotter stuff. His gym's incredible, so well. They have loads of travellers, he's welcomed me in, use the saunas, use this, come do this with us, amazing. I went to a gym in Bosnia, Sarajevo, a few years ago, called the Jiu-Jitsu Brotherhood, and I don't think they'd ever had a girl before, ever. And they were all fasting for Ramadan, and I could barely find a gym. It was a rundown, like a Commonwealth or Olympics facility, And they have charity drives to get enough gis for guys, and it's totally poverty-stricken and such an insight into like jiu-jitsu in a community like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an incredible way when you're traveling to actually connect with people that are from wherever you're from.
Yeah.
In Japan, I mean, I went to the Kodokan, the judo Kodokan, and, you know, blagged my way into that. So I was trying to say that I'd done any kind of judo, which I hadn't.
Yeah.
And she didn't speak any English, and someone translated one bit, and I was like, what did she say? And she was like, oh, white people, they never know how to walk properly on the mat. Which was hilarious, because I kept lifting my feet, apparently. Yeah. So I love it. It totally brings to life traveling for me and gives me a different flavour of jiu-jitsu. I get to meet amazing women, especially. So when I go to other countries, women I've met at competitions would be able to stay with them. If they come here, I would say, let me know I've got a spare room. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to encourage girls from down south to come up and stay with me, and I'm training at higher levels facility for a while as well. I've encouraged a few girls recently to do that, trying to plan that, because I need good women to train with as well. I mean, I love where I am, but I have Fee Crystal, who's an incredible pro fighter. Mm-hmm. But she's for the most part, the only girl I have to train with, and even then, she's an MMA fighter. She's not going to be wanting to do worm guard and matrix back takes and Tariko flappers. So, trying to search for that and getting different bodies. People like Rachel at the Grip, female purple belt in my weight class, absolutely ideal partner. So, I'm willing to go find it. Also, it's just a great excuse to hang out with great people. Yeah. I love going to like LSGI. It's like, I don't know, a birthday party and all your friends are there. It's so nice. I keep saying, I think Scottish Grappling could have like an award night like you're doing with awards. Yeah. But an actual night for it. You could buy a table for your gym. We'd all get dolled up. It would be so much fun.
Well, do you know what? Funny you say that, because obviously we were talking, me, James McIntyre, spoke with Gary Christie and things like that, and next year, obviously we did the awards this year, okay, so we're going to be, I'm going to be going out and handing out the awards over the next couple of weeks to the guys that won, but next year we're talking about having a sit-down dinner. Okay, but it's going to be an actual award ceremony where everybody's going to be able to get, as you mentioned, all dressed up and come out, and just everybody, whoever comes, to just have a night of jiu-jitsu where we get to celebrate, obviously, Scottish jiu-jitsu.
Also, if Jamie Crates can do the clips, like, you know, the nominees are, like the Oscars, and then the clips come up, and Jamie Crates is, like, giving an amazing highlight reel. That is my dream. I was describing this to someone the other day. I've got such a vision for this.
Well, that's what I'm planning next year. Next year's definitely going to be that. We're going to have the big screen up, and obviously for whoever's up for awards, we're going to have it so that there's maybe 4 or 5 different people that are up for the award, and then obviously the winner comes out. So, and as I said, it's just a celebration of jiu-jitsu for Scotland. All Scottish people, so it's going to be all Scottish people that are going to win them, same as it was this year. So that's the plan for next year. So we're going to try and do it in a different city every year. So one year it'll be Glasgow, one it'll be
on the Bathgate.
Yeah, well, Bathgate.
I'm totally joking. Don't put it in Bathgate.
Well, listen, if Bathgate's got a big enough restaurant that we can go into, or a big enough place that we can do it, then we'll go there as well. So. But yeah, going to have it in a different place every year. We'll figure out this year.
And you could win the Golden Gi.
The Golden
You know,
Gi.
you could be the Oscar.
The Golden Gi, yeah, definitely.
All I want is that there's one award that's like the Golden Gi. I want to see someone win the Golden Gi.
So
it'd be beautiful.
Yeah, the Golden Gi. So that could be a shout. So now a couple of people obviously ask questions. Obviously, they asked questions on your Facebook. So one of them was...
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, but listen, do you know what? Nobody... The first time... Now, I think you're, about 26th or 27th podcast, and the first time anybody asked me to ask any questions was the last one, which was Nathaniel. So nobody had asked me before, because I always put up, like, does anybody want me to ask questions? And nobody had ever asked until Nathaniel came up, and then...
Me and Nate, just very high dramatic.
So,
that's all I can take from this.
Yeah, but for you, there was a couple of people. One was Alison Lynch, just saying that, how do you balance career progression with the demands of training for competition? Because as I said, it seems like, obviously, when you look at your Facebook, your Instagram, you're always travelling, you're always competing. I don't think there's many pictures of you without a gi or your no gi stuff on. So how do you balance your career and the demands of training?
Yeah, it's really, really tricky. I was saying that to someone the other day. I don't actually train with that many people where I'm just now that have it like a career sort of like mine, other than one or two. Mm-hmm. I'm always so jealous of people that can train during the day and things like that. I work in a well-known financial services company, and it's difficult because I sometimes feel like I can't do either to the full extent I'd love to. Mm-hmm. Being an all or nothing person, I would love to kick off work 4 o'clock every day, get the extra session in jiu-jitsu, and progress faster. Equally, I'd love to. I feel the pressure to be in work late. Mm-hmm. Later than I am. I've got a really understanding team and boss and company, and they're all really behind it and really interested in it. Yeah. They know what an arm bar is, so that's exciting. And they follow the brackets and things when I'm away in the office and send emails around. It's lovely. Yeah. So they're really supportive, although sometimes the other one just has to take the priority. Mm-hmm. What I would say is that from the moment I wake up to the moment I sleep, I eat all of my meals at work or in the gym. You know, yeah. I cycle through the rain to get from one to the other a lot of the time, all the time in the car. And I don't do anything else, being perfectly honest. I rarely ever do anything else. I say no to a lot of things because if it's not work or training, I just don't really have time for it. Yeah. Like, props to anyone that does this with kids as well. Mm-hmm. I honestly just don't know how they do it all. Mm-hmm. I think, you know, last week there was something I had to stay in late work-wise, and then I got out and I got to the station. I thought I could probably just about make it if I get a taxi and put my bike in the back. I went through three taxis and I went to take my bike, and then I got one, I got my bike and I ran in. I'm like, I'm so sorry, James. So it's a lot of that, and sometimes I'll just take annual leave to train. Mm-hmm. I do that quite a lot as well, just to get some in before competition. Yeah. And I've been known to sit in the cage on my laptop and do emails between classes. So I take my laptop to the gym and I'll be in the gym room and I've been sitting in the cage. It's a really funny picture I sent to my boss, and I bet none of your other employees do work in a cage. Yeah. And sit and do things between, or, you know, not the other way around. I don't, you know, do roles in office as much as I'd love to. So yeah, it's just, I don't nail it. I try to fit both in as much as I can. Mm-hmm. The hardest things, honestly, when you're travelling to competition, you're going down and back in a day on a Sunday and you've got work the next day. That's awful. Yeah. You know, when you get in at 2 a.m. and you know you're at 6 a.m. you've got to go to work. But yes. You know, or when you're cutting weight before a competition, you know you're just way grumpier than you would be normally, and you're trying not to take out on your work clothes. You've still got a job to do. My goal is always that my training doesn't make me worse at work, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm overtraining to the detriment of work, where I'm sore and I'm in a bad mood, mm-hmm. and things like that, I try to tail it back. Yeah. But I would say jiu-jitsu has made me so much better at work. Mm-hmm. My composure, my problem solving, my perspective, it's so applicable. Coaching, like in terms of you've got someone new in work, how you break something down like you would to someone whose first jiu-jitsu class was, and that patience. There's so many elements to it. Yeah. The composure being a big one, I would say. Yeah. You know, when something's going a bit peak-tong in the meeting, and my natural instinct is I want to start crying, obviously, and how to manage that feeling. Yeah. It's really positive in a lot of ways, but super hard. In many ways I'm grateful I don't have a partner or a family or anyone that I need to get. I can be completely selfish. Yeah. That's something I need to recognise, because there are so many people that have other commitments, whether that's care responsibilities, they've got kids, they've got partners they need to spend time with, because apparently that's what you do with them, I don't know. But I can just, from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep at night, it's all about me and my needs. Yeah. When do I need to eat? Yeah. And I can't go out this weekend, and I can't drink at all for 2 months. And now I want to go to the gym. That's much easier to do when you're 25 and you don't have those responsibilities outside of those things, I'd say.
Yeah. No, it can be difficult. I mean, sometimes with kids. But again, I remember my kids, well, TJ's what, 22, my daughter's 11, and I remember every time I'd go out and win a competition, my daughter would then take the medal to school, and she'd show everybody, oh, look what my dad got, look at this, look at that.
That's cute.
And she goes into school and it's one of the kids, I remember when I was a kid, probably you as well, but it's like that, my dad can beat your dad up. So Faith goes in with the medal and she's like, listen, my dad could beat your dad up. And
you're going to be so mugged off when that kid says, my dad's a brown belt. Mugged off.
But the kid, I mean, the kids, I mean, especially when you're going to competitions or, as you say, you're cutting weight and things like that. I mean, everybody knows, especially cutting weight, you're going to be that bit more grumpier. So even like my kids, if I'm cutting weight for competitions, they know, listen, see, for the next X amount of weeks, Dad's going to be a bit more grumpier than normal. So
and it's also like things like meals and entertaining and things like that can be really part of work sometimes. And social groups, I make a big point of 2 or 3 weeks after a competition, putting time in to do things with people. And acknowledge that, you know, go for some drinks with some friends, have a meal out with my colleagues at work, and almost just acknowledge that I sort of don't do that most of the time, but I will when I can, and trying to make time for it. I think that's really important.
Yeah. And then another question we had was Samantha Hutchison. She was, do you have a psych up song? So obviously music, as you know, in jiu-jitsu, music's very important. So anybody that doesn't know, I mean, when we train to music all the time.
You say that, they don't at Rex. There's no music at Rex.
Is there none at all?
Complete silence. It's very intense.
Right, okay. But I mean, majority of gyms I've been to, obviously there's music.
Most gyms.
Yeah, I mean, it's down to the coach at the end of the day. I mean, it's obviously how they came up. A lot of coaches like the fact that there's silence, and because then it's
intense.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, people think if there's no music it'll be okay, but when there's no music it can be, as you say, intense. It can be a bit more.
You're alone with your thoughts.
So for you then, do you have a song? Is there a specific song that you listen to?
I've never admitted this. I make a new playlist for every competition.
Right.
I've got playlists that I hope they're not public, so don't go and say Nogi Euros 2009 and things. But I really, not for the reasons you think maybe, I really like being able to look back on a playlist and elicit the memories of that competition. So I can listen to certain songs and like, oh my goodness, SGI, oh Euros, Lisbon, and it's like, you know, perfumes at certain times in your life and things, they bring back the smells and like the memories and emotions. Also because when I walk to work and sometimes when I'm sitting on my desk doing my spreadsheets, I like to feel like a gangster in my head. That's very important to me when I'm, you know, being corporate Lorna. I quite like to, you know, think about Ezekiel's and things. But yeah, certain songs I psych myself up because Laura, like I talk about Laura so much. She's like not my girlfriend, but essentially we're in a long distance relationship. Don't tell you. She listens to songs to calm her down because she's too pumped. So she listens to Take Me to Church by Jose. I listen to things like It's Tricky by Run DMC's what I walked out to recently. Things like that. I like to get myself pumped up and because I'm not naturally competitive at all. I need something to get me like zoned in and focused and like raring to go. Because for the longest time I would just walk out and be like, hiya, how are you? Oh my god, your hair's so nice. I love you. And now I need to come out with like these scary psycho eyes I've been working so hard on. And like be thinking I'm going to smash you, which it doesn't come naturally. Even saying it just there made me cringe because I just find it hard to feel that way. So anything like that that gets me up and going.
Right. So something that gets you pumped up, ready to go, song wise. So, but for me, I mean, I think I've had the same playlist since, 2015. So I've had exactly the same songs. Yeah, I mean, I listened to DMX. So DMX's first album, it's Dark When Hell Is Hot. I listened to some songs off that. I've got a couple of Tupac songs. Quite not the slow songs, but the more aggressive songs, like the later Tupac. But recently I've added a couple other songs in. So obviously when I do next year, when I do start competing again, I've got a couple other songs that I've added in. But yeah, I mean, mine's has been the same. I mean, I'm for competition.
Do you visualise?
But no, for me, competitions is I'm a nightmare when I compete, because I'm like you were talking about when you look on you look at the brackets and you maybe check Instagram or Facebook or whatever. So I do that, and then I'm quite well known for, as soon as I know who it is I'm competing against, I'll start sending messages to them.
No.
Yeah, man.
That's terrible. Why? I like nice ones?
No, I'm coming to get you. So, but that's...
Is that not a bit much for jiu-jitsu?
No, do you know what? Jiu-jitsu, I mean, see, for the way I do it, right, now this is, and I don't know if this is the way everybody thinks, right, but what I do, and I mean, especially there was that the one time where I got this guy so angry, there was him and his whole team shouting, fuck you, this, that, and the next thing, and then because I'd basically harassed this guy for about 2 weeks, every day.
That's such a troll.
Yeah, I was posting pictures on his Facebook of me beside his car. I was sending him messages like, I'm coming to get you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So by the time I got to the venue, this guy was pissed. He was angry, right? Now, the way I was standing, like, still waiting to go onto the mat, me and him waiting to go on the mat together, and I was still looking at him going, I'm going to fucking get you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And everybody's always like, why do you do that? And I was like, because if you get someone angry, especially in a fight, anger's an emotion. And a lot of people can't fight with emotion. Okay, so...
You know this is going to be used as evidence when you're eventually murdered.
So, probably. But yeah, do you know what? I do it, and then I remember the first time me and Marcos went to a comp, this is the guy, I'd been messaging this guy non-stop, and Marcos was like... I remember him being in my corner. He's like, Stuart, you better go out and beat this guy, because if you don't, we're not getting out of this building. So I was like, mate, don't worry, I've got this. And I went out and I beat the guy. And obviously after it, me and the guy were like, yeah. And the guy was like, he says, Stuart, he says, see, at the start when you were messaging me, he said, I thought it was hilarious. But he says, you were just fucking relentless. You just kept going and going and going. And eventually he said he got to a point where I'm going to kill this guy. And that
was so funny.
Yeah, so that was.
Whereas I look at girls and think, oh, she has abs. Should I have abs?
So that's my way of thinking. I mean, I'm always, when I get there, I'm pumped. I'm up at fucking like 7 o'clock in the morning, pacing about the hotel room. Like, I'm ready to fight if I see the guy in the car park.
These days, like, I've become so relaxed on the day off for the most part. I sort of stroll in, eat a banana, sometimes have a wee nap. And then the moment I go on, obviously adrenaline hits and I'm ready to go and I'm excited. Yeah. But no, I'm not the shaken mess and I'm not the super amped up person. I do need to I think people that have come in from other sports, it's very telling. A lot of the time, like if you've played rugby or football or gymnastics or like done anything competitively, it shows because people are more natural competitors and they can get in that headspace. Whereas if you're like me, and like maybe, I don't know, maybe there's quite a lot of people in jiu-jitsu that have never done anything else. It's not, no one teaches you how to behave on the day, or if it's not a team sport, you've not got other people that come in and like rile you up. But I remember someone once said, don't fear the guy pacing, slapping his face with a big drape headphones. Fear the guy like Steve Playfair lying on his back with a hoodie over his face snoring, because he's competed more.
So, but no, that was me. I mean, I'm always ready, man. I'm always like, when I go to competition, I just want to get on the mat and let's do this. Do you know what I mean? I don't get nervous so I've never ever had nerves. I've always been,
oh really?
When I go there, I'm like, I just, you know what I mean? I'm like, I remember Hensel Gracie saying, I remember he was in an MMA fight years ago back, I think it was like Japan or wherever, and he had all these guys sitting around, and one guy was saying, oh, I wish I was at home with my family, and the other guy was saying, I wish I was playing the PlayStation, and somebody else said they were wishing they were doing this, and then they all looked at Hensel Gracie, and Hensel Gracie was like, what the fuck are you talking about? There is nowhere else in the world I would rather be at this moment than right here, right now, because I know in X amount of hours we're going to be out there fighting. So I'm fucking ready for this.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking of anything else. I just want to get out there and fight. So
I did the smart thing for my first big one at the Euros, and I arrived 4 hours early.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad I did, because it took me that long to adjust to the terrifying atmosphere of it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the roar and all the banging and the screaming and the chaos, and I didn't know how it all worked.
Yeah.
And then by the time I went on, I just got used to it, become a new normal, because I'd sat in it for hours.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, now I don't really need to do that anymore. But the only time I get really, really, really nervous is if it's in Scotland. I really don't like competing in front of people I know.
Yeah.
I would happily do. You could put me on a show like, not the wood, but something like Polaris, and you know, in another country where I didn't know anyone, and I'd be fine in front of that many people. Yeah. Put me in a Scottish grappling competition, and I'd be terrified. I hate it. I hate people I know watching me. Yeah. It's like presenting at work. I'd happily present to a room full of strangers. It put me in front of 50 people I know. It's like it's so personal, and it feels like there's expectation, and what are they thinking, and this, that, and the next, and that's that girl that's with my ex-boyfriend now, and that's that guy that like broke his arm at the last one. I hate that feeling.
Yeah, yeah. I always remember it was always like when I first started, I trained at GB, and my coaches at the time were Graham McQuiston,
no way,
Jack Williamson, Mike Coyer. I don't know if you met Mike Coyer, but Mike Coyer was one of the guys. He got up to purple belt, got a lot of injuries, and then I think he's retired now. I don't know what he's doing now. But he lives in Perth now. So he was training at Fair City Jiu-Jitsu for a while, but I think he's retired now. Even if he's not, I'm going to say he's retired because nobody's heard of him from a few years. So I trained under these guys, and I remember like Jack Williamson always used to sit and talk to me before competitions, and he always used to say to me, Stuart, you need to get beat to get better, because it just so happened that the first, I think, 7 competitions I won gold. So he was like, you need to get beat to get better. And he always used to say to me as well, whenever you go to a competition, just remember the person that's standing in front of you isn't better than the guys you train with. So the guys you train with every day, the person standing in front of you, can he beat these guys? No chance. So that's your advantage. You can go in there and I always kept that thought, and I was always like, do you know what? That's it. So whenever I go to a competition, I'm always like, this guy's not better than Marcos or Chris Ayton, Nick Ayton, and all the guys I train with now. So I'm like, I've got an advantage that way. Plus, obviously, me being an absolute fucking troll, man. Do you know what I mean? So it gives me that because I'm smaller than all the super heavyweights. I mean, these guys are all 6 feet plus. So for me, my advantage is to basically mind fuck them for 2 weeks and just give them absolute harassment, and then by the time we get there, let's get it on. Do you know what I mean? So I have to have that little bit of advantage. Plus, as I said, with having absolutely no nerves, I mean, I'll go in, and if they say to me, Stuart, the only person that's left to fight is Rodolfo Vieira. Do you know what I mean? Do you want to fight him? Yeah, fuck it, let's fight Rodolfo Vieira. So, and that was always
Don't be sending anything to their houses, though. You know, like make sure there's a line.
No.
Don't be turning up at like the Christmas dinners and things. Like, let's just to make sure we've got boundaries for this.
Joe, we were going to be. In fact, there was one fight that one guy wanted to fight me for ages, and he kept making the fight, pulling out, and that was Levi Bunyan.
Right, I saw this chat. I think I've seen your I remember when I announced the SGI one and you commented something like, Mon the Warrior Princess Lisa.
Yes.
And I was like, you absolute troll. And I remember someone said to me once, in a world full of Conor McGregor, to be a George St. Pierre. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a George St. Pierre. I will rise to this. I respect her too much.
I mean, Lisa laughed as well. As soon as she seen it, she just laughed, and when she spoke to me after it, she was like, Stuart, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? So,
yeah, stop stirring the pot. I really like Lisa.
But I mean, Levi was meant to fight me, and he kept pulling out and coming in, pulling out, and then eventually...
Does he do jiu-jitsu now? I thought he didn't train anymore.
Now, do you know what? Levi will probably be listening to this, and I would say Levi has retired as well, so he doesn't do jiu-jitsu at all.
He does lots of cool strongman stuff, right? Yeah. He does all the, like, lifting the big heavy stones and things, which is cool.
He lifts little stones. Little stones.
Well, stones. Well, let's get a lifting competition. Levi, if you are listening to this, I want you to call him out for lifting some little stones, as he puts it.
Listen,
and then
Levi,
we'll see.
yeah, listen, Levi's got my number. He can phone me. He can arrange
send
this little stone. Yeah, send me location and I'll be there. But no, Levi was one of the guys. I mean, because he kept pulling out and all that, I was going to turn up at his gym. Do you know what I mean? And be like, why the fuck is Levi? Do you know what I mean? So, but obviously it never panned out. So, but nah, Levi's a nice guy. I mean, Levi, one of the guys I've got a lot of respect for in jiu-jitsu. I mean, his journey when he first started. I mean, I can't even remember how many kilos he was, but he ended up losing.
I feel like he's lost more weight than I am. I can remember thinking it like that.
Well, that's we looked at it and said he'd lost a whole person, a whole middleweight, I think it was, so a whole 86 kilos, I think he lost.
That's mental.
And obviously he put the weight back on, he lost some, put it back on, so his journey, I mean, it's up and down, but again, Levi's one of the nicest guys that you'll meet in jiu-jitsu. Obviously, me and him had a bit of banter. I beat one of Levi's teammates back in the day. And what was his name? Christopher Smith. Big, mean. He looked like a mean-looking guy. And then I remember beating him. It was my first blue belt comp. I was like 6 weeks or something as a blue belt. And I went in and beat Christopher. And I remember Levi was fighting one of my teammates, and I'd been winding Levi up again for weeks before, and my teammate's called Damien, so I kept sending, I don't know if you've ever seen the film The Omen, and the person in it's Damien, so I kept sending him pictures of The Omen, like that, Damien's coming to get you, and this went on for weeks, and Levi said, Stuart, see, as soon as I beat Damien, I'm calling you out. And I was like, mate, you're not beating Damien. So he ended up, he fought Damien, he beat Damien, he stood over Damien after he beat him, and he just stood and looked at me, and that was pretty much like, now it's me and you. But as I said, it never panned out. Maybe one day it will. We were supposed to be on SGI a couple of times, and
I'm really glad I don't have to fight you, because if I received these messages, it would break me to the point I'd have to quit sport. I'm really glad women aren't as mental as that.
Nah, listen, I do it, as I said, purely because jiu-jitsu could be boring. It could be so boring, and it's good to get, do you know what I mean, something just to kind of make it a little bit more exciting, and for me it's fun. Do you know what I mean? Jiu-jitsu is fun. Competing's fun. I mean, I've set myself up. I mean, there was I don't know if you've seen the Ultra MMA thing. I
was going to ask you about this. You're getting in the cage.
Yeah, do you know what? I've done it again. I've seen it coming up, and I thought, do you know what? I'm going to do this for a laugh. I've got apart from jiu-jitsu, I've got no other MMA experience. So
you've not done any striking at all?
No. So obviously a complete novice when it comes to striking. So, and I remember Giles came on, and I think one of the posts he said he can't wait to hear the smack talk that's going to come out of my mouth once they start getting all this stuff together.
You could do like a press conference like at the UFC, and Giles will ask the questions. That'd be great. Live stream that. Yeah. I would watch.
But
most importantly, what are you going to wear?
Well, it'll be, I think it's, just MMA, shorts, your gloves, shin pads, so...
You're not going to go the little Vale Tudo shorts?
Nah, I don't know yet, somebody they were talking about walkout songs and things like that, and because you get to come out to your own walkout song. So, one of the guys in my work is like, Stuart, you should come out to that cherry pie song, know that, she's my cherry pie, and just as soon as you walk out with your hood up, and then just pull the hood down and go like, yes, and they say you'll have the whole crowd all clapping their hands and going mental.
And then open your mouth and reveal that you've tied a cherry stalk with your tongue.
So, but yeah, it's going to be exciting. As I said, I've done it because, again, I don't know, just to test, not to test myself. I mean, I'm 42, so I'm not out there. I'm not going to be a UFC champion. That's not my plan. But just to
what kind of gloves are we talking?
I think it's sparring gloves. So I don't think it's.
Oh, so like the big puffy ones. So you're not going to be in those little.
Nah, so you've got shin pads as well. So there's no. It's not you're obviously if you get punched or kicked or whatever, it's going to hurt. But man, it makes no difference. As I say, it's for charity as well. So it's for a good cause, cancer research. So I thought, you know what? Fuck it, man, let's do this. Do you know what I mean? So my plan is to cut weight down. So I don't want to be going in and fighting somebody that's 100 kilos, because in MMA I'll get absolutely smashed. So my plan is to cut the weight down a bit, maybe try and get down to under 90, and then go from there. So that's going to be exciting. That's going to be April next year. So and it's quite funny because on the website they're like, you need to be able to sell a minimum of 10 tickets, and I was like, fuck man, I'll pack the whole place out. Do you know what I mean? So, because there'll be people out there that will want to see me do this, and there'll be people out there that want to see me get my mouth shut. So,
when is it?
But the haters and the non-haters, as I said, all together. So, but yeah, it's exciting. I mean, is that not something you've ever thought of doing, MMA?
Well, that's where I started, to be honest, because I did the striking and stuff, and I was doing the MMA classes for the first year and a half.
Yeah.
And then I went to Rex, and I was still doing striking at Rex as well.
Yeah.
I only stopped striking maybe a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like being punched in the face that much. Do you know, it's like way more difficult to go to work and play it off casually when you've got like double black eyes and cuts on your face. And also in terms of my journey with anxiety, I mean, when I started jiu-jitsu, I couldn't be under someone's mount without running off hyperventilating on the floor for an hour.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore so much.
Yeah.
But I never really managed to relax in striking.
Yeah.
I think even when you're in a bad position in jiu-jitsu, you can have a moment, to take your time and then start working, for the most part.
Yeah.
You can, in side control, go, right, okay, this is crap, and then start working. And striking, I never really found you have that opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't think like Muay Thai and things like that lends itself to the neurotic unhinged amongst us, which I would classify myself.
Yeah.
So I've done one striking class at a higher level once. I was weirdly thinking out this morning, I crave it, like I crave hitting pads.
Mm-hmm.
And I love hitting pads, but hitting other people and that sparring side of it, I'm absolutely dreadful. Like, it's never clicked with me. I don't see the sort of subtleties of it. You know how in jiu-jitsu you can feel all this and like, oh, that's this position, that's this position.
Yeah.
All the striking looks exactly the same to me. And I know it's not, and there must be so many things I'm looking at and just can't see, but I did it long enough that I would have thought I'd be able to see it, and I just don't.
Yeah.
So kudos to you for doing it.
Yeah.
I don't see it in my future anytime soon. Also, the idea of wearing those tiny shorts and sports bra with no top is enough to make me want to hide away from here. Quite frankly, I would need someone to airbrush some abs on. Yeah, I mean, the amount of wardrobe malfunctions there is in jiu-jitsu competitions is enough, never mind that. So, not for now.
Nah, I mean, as I said, I only did it because it was like, it was for charity, it's for cancer research, obviously a charity that's close to most people's hearts. So, and I thought, do you know what?
You could have just done like a fun run though, couldn't you? Like,
you know what? Yeah. I probably could have. I probably could have done something a little bit different. But yeah, I mean, I seen that and I thought, do you know what? Jiu-jitsu has been a big part of my life for 6 years, and this is just I wouldn't say another part of jiu-jitsu, but jiu-jitsu, the first time a lot of people seen jiu-jitsu was on a UFC event. So for me, obviously, I've been a big UFC fan. I thought, do you know what? It kind of it makes sense for me. As I'm not a runner. I remember Marcos when we went to the first Euros. He's like, Stuart, come on, let's go out. We'll go running. And I'm like, why?
that sounds awful.
And I was like, what, is people going to be chasing us? And he's like, no. And I was like, why the fuck do I need to run then? Do you know what I mean? That's
I
why I
think
took
there's two types of people in jiu-jitsu. Like, there's people in jiu-jitsu like me, maybe like you, that like jiu-jitsu because it's a form of exercise where you're so busy thinking about something else, you can't stop to think how dreadfully out of breath you are.
Yeah.
And then there are other people that can go run every day to get good cardio food. And the psychos, is what I'd call them. Like, I don't understand how you can get more than 3 minutes in without thinking, oh, well, this is crap.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said to Marcos. Look, the reason I took up jiu-jitsu is so I don't need to run away.
Exactly.
So, I don't plan on doing any marathons. I don't plan on being chased by anybody. So I'm happy just getting cardio through jiu-jitsu. So, I mean, fun runs for me would be absolutely boring and pointless.
What's your fight name going to be? Is Stoom the fight name?
Yeah, Stoom Boy. Everybody knows Stoom Boy, so so everybody knows that. Do you know what I mean? I can come out. I don't know. I don't think there would be any other fight name other than Stoom Boy. So
that's what I wondered. Okay, that's down. At least that's one thing sorted.
Yeah. So, but everything else will fall into place. I mean, we don't start. It's all done through. It's the Grip House that run it. So
okay.
And then what you do is for 8 weeks before April the 3rd, so I think it's about the 10th of February, you go to classes at the Grip House, MMA classes, and it's almost like, I don't know if you've ever seen The Ultimate Fighter, but it's almost like
it's like this Warrior to Warrior stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, so you train with these people for 8 weeks, and then what happens is that they near the end of the 8 weeks, they then determine who you're going to be fighting, depending on obviously your skill level and things like that. So so in that 8 weeks, they basically prepare you for you to then go out and fight on the night. So so obviously it's a good thing. It's probably a good thing and a bad thing for some people, because again, that might put people off, but not put them off, but it might give them that little bit more anxiety, because you might be paired up against a guy who you've just seen smash everybody for 8 weeks, and then suddenly you've been paired up against them. Or for me, I mean,
you just started sending them texts and that.
Listen, I just started, what's your phone number, man? I'll text you, man. I'm going to text you some pictures of me outside your house. Do you know what I mean? Walking your dog and shit like that. So
I feel like you could be arrested for that. I just be careful. I think that could be stalking.
So, but yeah, that's it. It can probably put some people off in regards to anxiety levels, but for me, it's just do you know what? It's fine, man. I mean, as I said, I'm a jiu-jitsu guy, and yeah, I'm just going to be throwing a few punches, kicks, and whatever, and then we'll see.
Is your wrestling good?
Yeah, wrestling's all right. Do you know what I mean? So wrestling's okay. Probably not as good as it should be, because I'm a top game player. So I'm one of these guys that can put people on their back regardless of who they are, and if I pass people's guard, which I do pass guards. There's some guards that I can't pass or I don't pass, but for my level, the similar level to me, I'd say I can probably pass 9 out of 10 guards, and as soon as I get into side control, then I'm absolutely fine. Even when I did competitions in jiu-jitsu, I mean, everybody knew, obviously, if I was in a guard and I was going to pass, and as soon as I passed and got into side control, then you're not moving me. Do you know what I mean? Because my balance is good. I can hold my balance. I can feel when somebody's about to try and roll me over or do this or do that. And
do you think there could be a purple belt for Stoom Boy in the near future?
Well, maybe.
I love making my Christmas promotion predictions. It's my favourite activity in the run up to this time of year. I love sitting there with people going, who do you think? Who do you think?
Yeah. I mean, there's for me, I mean, I've been a blue belt now for, 5 years?
Wilders.
And part of the reason why it's been 5 years is because during that 5 years I moved gyms. So obviously when you move gyms, you start at the beginning again. Which, do you know what I mean? I understand, everybody else understands that as well. So, and part of the reason why I'm probably not a purple belt at the moment is because of my lack of gym time as it stands at the moment. So, I mean, I'm not in the gym as often as I should be, whether that be through work purposes or I suffer from anxiety, very, very bad anxiety, not anxiety through like jiu-jitsu, but just anxiety in my personal life.
Generalised.
Yeah, I mean, for me, obviously I take tablets for it, it's been like that for years, and so for me, the thought of, once I'm in the gym, I'm fine, but it's getting to the gym. So once I get there, I'm absolutely fine. But that still affects me to this day, even though I'm like, oh yeah, jiu-jitsu, I love it, want to go and train. In my head, I want to go, or in my heart, I want to go and train, but my head's telling me, no, you don't. So I ended up, so that's part of the reason why I've missed a lot of classes. So, but Marco said to me, Stuart, do you know what I mean? If you want it, you need to come and get it. So, you know where we are in the gym. You need to be in the gym. You need to be training. And so, yeah, I mean, it will come. I've got no disbelief it will come.
Of course.
I mean, for me, as a blue belt, an early blue belt, I did won a lot of competitions, a lot of big competitions. But obviously at the time when I won them competitions, it was far too early. So obviously you need to be a good couple of years as a blue belt minimum. Unless you're something special. But you need to be a minimum of 2 years as a blue belt before you can even be considered for a purple belt, in my eyes anyway. So it will happen. When it happens, I say that's up to me. Obviously it's me that needs to go out there and get it. It's me that needs to turn up to the gym and do what I need to do. So
it's a big scary jump, that one.
Yeah, do you know what? It's see, when you, I mean, I know for me, when I get a purple belt, or anybody, a lot of people know that when they get that belt, they're ready for that belt. People do question themselves, but yeah, there's no reason to question yourself when you do get a belt, because when you get it, and especially from a lot of the coaches in Scotland, guys at the Grip House, James Doolan, Marcos and things like that. So when you get your belt from these people, it's something special, and it's, if you're getting it from these people know exactly what they're talking about. So
I would drown the world. I would drown the world with tears. They need to put flood precautions up. Like, someone will have to warn them. Kleenex supplies will be at an all-time low in the basket area. I have to take some time off work to recover, like Diorolite, enough to rehydrate. It'll be a huge amount of consideration for the amount of tears.
Listen, you'll be fine. I mean, but you get it. I mean, especially so far. I mean, you're doing everything right. Everything that you're doing, I mean, you're getting better and better.
Oh God, just being a baby blue. I call myself a baby blue. I am baby blue. I spent most of my time making stupid mistakes and getting squished, which is my job just now. Listen, it'll come. I mean, you, as I said, everything you've done so far this year. I mean, you've had a phenomenal year. Absolutely phenomenal year. There's not many people thank you.
in Scotland anyway that can turn around and say they've had as good a year as you. So yeah, it's definitely an exciting 2020 coming forward for you. So obviously you're not going to get to the Euros this year. You mentioned earlier about obviously the pact that you've got with the family. So 1 year on, 1 year off. So
it was funny though, because last year I knew basically nobody going, and this year everyone seems to be going. Have you noticed that?
I know.
It's a big year. Like, I feel so many people are going just coming up. That's how I met you and Ryan Harrower, sorry. I met him on the plane because I saw him getting Saturday, and I was like, oh, did you see?
Yeah, it's going to be a big year for Scotland at the Euros. I'd say there's a lot of
For
people
sure.
going. There's quite
There's
a few.
Jen Colleen. She won her way to it. I don't know if you saw that. She won it at the London Warriors Cup. She won the absolute that purple belt.
Yeah.
So she'll be going, and she has such a good chance. I think she's amazing. She's like a beast. So she's someone like one to watch, I think.
But saying that, there was a comment put up in one of the posts I put up, and because they were talking about, obviously I've got the awards, so they're going to be handed out in the next couple of weeks, and then one of the guys, Andrew Greet, said he imagines Jen's should be up for a couple of these awards, but what is the eligibility for traitors now that they've went south of the border? So
well, I've had some questions like without naming names. Is it like is it that you're Scottish? Is it that you train in Scotland? Is it that you represent a Scottish gym? Because if you like compete under a gym that isn't in Scotland, and I'm like, what are the boundaries to this? So it's quite hard. So we were talking about this with some friends, saying, what would make someone eligible for that award? It's really hard to know.
Yeah, I mean, the eligibility was Scotland, so you've got to be based in Scotland.
Right.
So you've got to train out of a Scottish gym. But if you're going to a competition, you've got to represent the Scottish. Well, maybe not so much that, but.
Well, you see what I mean?
You're definitely.
There are people that don't do that, and it's like, well, it's hard to know because then there are people like Louise, because Louise lives in Portugal now, but she's Scottish. Yeah. It's funny. I was messaging her last night, and she said something like, "Can I even be in the StoomCast now? I'm not Scottish." And I'm like, "You've not stopped being Scottish. You're at least as Scottish as Marcos Nardini."
Yeah, I think it's probably that. I mean, for me, when I put it together, it was more. Being based in Scotland, so I think whether you're Scottish or whatever nationality, if you're fighting out of Scotland, then you were eligible for it. Okay,
right.
So
yeah, that's cool. It's up to you though for like
we had
something like this together, and with the podcast and the awards, recognising the Scottish scene, and also just a thank you for having the female categories in there and promoting that. I noticed in the comments almost nobody nominated. They went through and nominated all of the male categories without a single nod to the female categories. And I get it, there's not as many of us, but it's really nice to see someone pushing and promoting that, because there's so many great women. Like, you've spoken to Erin and there's Maria and so many great women.
Yeah, I mean, there's That's why I did it, because obviously, I mean, people were messaging me, although obviously there was a lot of comments on Facebook on the posts. Mm-hmm. I did get private messages as well saying, "Look, I think this person should be in, I think that person should be in." So I had a lot of private messages as well. And then that's why I went with 4 different judges. So obviously me, James McIntyre, Ross McTavish and Giles. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I wanted to do, and these, as well as myself and these 3 people, we're unbiased. We're not going to be biased towards people in our own gyms or people that we think.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, so we that's why I wanted to pick 3 other unbiased people that can realistically come up with a list of people who they think should be likely winners. And there was a lot of to and fro, and I mean we in a few of the categories. I mean, we had the male submission and the female submission. I think we had a couple of contenders that we all agreed on. So they were pretty quickly, we realised who had won them. The biggest ones were Fighter of the Year for male and Fighter of the Year for... Breakthrough Fighter of the Year for male. Mm-hmm. The women, we all agreed on the same women. The same females, we all agreed who should win that. But when it comes to the males, and that's, again, because, as you mentioned, there's a lot of great women out there, a lot of great females out there doing jiu-jitsu in Scotland. But
not many competing, though.
Not many competing. So that's why I think the female category was, we all, I think, apart from a couple of differences, we all pretty much agreed very quickly on who the female winners were going to be, and then the male winners, we had about I think 5 people.
No, I can imagine.
And then,
did you put pictures out like in America's Next Top Model? Then like,
we should
this is what I'm imagining.
Yeah. Nah, we just went in. It took all day. We went through it all day, the 4 of us, and eventually, I think it was after about maybe 7 or 8 hours, we got the list. We got the list of the 7 winners, and yeah, it's a good list. It's a good list of winners. As I say, starting off on Saturday, I'm going to the Grip House. Then I have a trip to higher level. Higher levels. I've got award at higher level, and then up to Gracie Baja Dundee. And then,
well, I was saying this to Stevie, because Stevie was in the other night because his dad came around again.
Yeah.
So he was in, and I was like, "Oh, Stevie, could be an award coming your way." And he was like, "What award?" Because obviously,
yeah, Stevie won't know. Stevie's a big UFC star, so this is just a small StoomCast award.
I know. I just thought he looked like, "What award?" But he was, to be fair, doing with Saga, taking his sample, so fair.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's the gyms, Grip House, higher level, Gracie Baja Dundee, and do you know, I can't even remember who the other gym is.
Are you not going to the Highlands or anything? Because I did wonder. I really hope for his sake nobody up there wins anything, because he's going to have to go get himself a train ticket.
Yeah, no, I think I've got one up. There is one up north. I'm trying to remember who it is. Do you know, I should really know this because it's fucking me that's giving out the awards, but yeah, one award up north. So yeah, starting off at the Grip House. Hopefully, well, I'll find out about the higher level, the awards that I've got to give out there. I'll find out when I think I'll be messaging James Doolan, finding out when, or maybe looking at the website, finding out when the training is, finding out when the people are going to be there, if they're going to be there.
Yeah. Well, awkward if they're not there.
Yeah, I mean,
in general,
traveling all
at the Grip, like sitting there waiting.
So, and the Aberdeen one will be I think it's Aberdeen. The Aberdeen one will be a nightmare travelling all the way up there to find out
wondering,
the person's not going to be there. So that'll be.
You should do what they do at the Oscars and just like VCN, you know. Sorry, I couldn't be there to present the award because I'm all filming in Azerbaijan or whatever.
So, but I think I'm going to need to do that. I know there's a couple of people I know that are not going to be in at that point when I turn up. So I'm going to need to do some kind of, I don't know,
home visit,
some WhatsApp call or something like that. So no, because as you mentioned, if I turn up at people's houses, then that could be an arrestable offence. So I'm not going to do that.
Yep.
So but no, we'll get these people. As I said, I'll find out. I'll probably to be fair, I'll probably message the people directly and say, look, I'm going to be in the gym I'm going to be at your gym on such and such a day. Can you make sure that you're there? Or maybe not them, but maybe a teammate of theirs or whatever, just to make sure.
Yeah, well, see, if a coach says to them, can you be here on this day, they'll think they're getting promoted, like, so you got to be careful with that. Because they're like thinking they're getting a brown belt and then you get a trophy, which is cool and all, but...
Nah, I know. But it'll be cool.
It's so cool. It's really exciting. I want to see acceptance speeches. I want you to post.
Well, we're going to do a video, and obviously saying, do you know what I mean? Obviously the award for whatever award is going to such and such a person. The reason this person's getting it is because of this, that, and that, or if it's a submission, this was a submission that they did, yeah, so they're going to be on video. Hopefully, I'm going to get them on video or get them on a WhatsApp call or a video call, some kind of video call, just to let them know. And then they can obviously give their acceptance speech and thank whoever, thank God.
For all the submissions of the year, of which I imagine there's like flying stuff, right? Yeah. They're going to have to reenact them all on you.
Well, they could, yeah. I mean, they could try. So that means I might need to start then Facebook messaging people saying I'm coming to get you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm thinking about giving you this, but you got to fight for it.
Yeah, definitely. And then, for you then, what's your future? What are you seeing? What's coming for you? Obviously, you mentioned throughout the call, Europeans, you want to win that.
Yeah, it's funny, I was sending James messages about this the other night, and I drank the best part of a bottle of wine, and I think it's just a bit like, I want to win worlds, and things like this. He's probably thinking, shut up, Lorna. We were talking about my sort of short-term, medium, long-term goals, and I said, you know, in the next year, I want to win some big IBJJF international, so things like Amsterdam, maybe. I'd like to win one of those. I think that's very achievable just now to win a GI IBJJF event. I've never done the British of any sort. I'd like to do the British next year. I don't know whether Dubralia is British or IBJJF British. People have very differing views on that, but one of them. I'd like to get some more sub-only stuff in. I want to get some no-gi sub-only shows in. I'd purposely not done any no-gi sub-only because I was doing the no-gi IBJJF, the Euros, because I didn't want to start playing, you know, all my heel hook stuff and then BG shoes, basically. So some of that. So that's sort of short term. As I said, I want to get grapple vest, I want to get battle grapple in sort of medium term and win the Euros, the GI Euros, I think I'd like to do. Like I said, I can choose. And then long term, and I can't emphasise how long I mean, I'd like to win the world at some level, some belt. And I'd really like to be, it sounds so lofty, on a Polaris undercard at some point in my distant future. I think that'd be really cool. I think there is a opening for like a Scottish sub-only female. There's lots of great women doing that in England. There's obviously Beyond Rep in Wales, and Ireland in a way. There's some great Irish women. There's no one really doing it right now. I think Jack Brown said I could be his leg locker apprentice. I think there's an opportunity there. So if I can keep my sort of pace of development up and get better in the years to come, that's something I'd love to do. Although I did message James saying, you know, if this isn't too ambitious, and he said something like, "Oh, it's not ambitious enough," and I just, you know, obviously bawled my eyes out further. So those are the plans. If I can keep my body in one piece, which is proving difficult, those are the plans.
Nice. So it's quite an extensive plan that you've got there. So, and as I said, I'm sure whatever you do, you always go out and give 100%. So, do you know what I mean? And you always, it sounds like from obviously what you've been saying throughout, obviously the psychology coach, you've got your nutritional coach and things like that. So, and obviously you're in a good gym, higher level. I mean, these guys are. I mean, obviously they've got Stevie Ray all the way down from Stevie Ray. Obviously, a lot of other guys coming out there, and they're all competitors. Everybody wants to compete, coming at a higher level. So you're in the right place.
I think it's the highest percentage of competitors versus non-competitors in Scotland for sure. It's been a real change of pace because when I was at Rex, I was probably the most competitive person in terms of how many competitions I was doing, maybe other than Abby Ray, possibly. And I was always, you know, the competitor. And then I moved to higher level, and I'm basically a part-timer by comparison. So many of these guys, it's their job. They've committed their life to it. They, you know, this is all they do full-time. They've made so many sacrifices. They live at home. They just a number of things because they're so all in it. It's really inspiring. It's motivational. They just live and breathe it. So that's been a real change of pace, and it's nice to be in that competitive atmosphere. And everyone's hungry. I want to get like a little bit of that MMA swagger. That would be quite nice. If I could like take a bit of that confidence and self-belief like that they have in the best way. That would be good. But no easy rounds at higher level is all I would say. James Cox dropped me and Kieran off after the airport last week, and we were like, "Oh, you should come in," and he was like, "I'm not really in the mood, and I'm especially not in the mood for higher level rounds."
Nah, you're definitely in one of the right places. I'd say there's a few gyms in Scotland where the guys are eager to compete. In fact, it's getting more and more. I mean, at one point there was maybe only a couple of gyms in Scotland like that, where now you seem to have, I mean, you've got obviously Glasgow, you've got the Grip House, you've got Marcus, you've got Going Out, Scottish Hit Squad, you've got Higher Level, SBG Moray, Gracie Baja. I mean, you can go on. There's the majority of gyms in Scotland now are have got active competitors. So, but Higher Level seems to have more than most. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the MMA gym, right? I think the jiu-jitsu squad's going to grow and grow. I really see that happening now that they've been in a new facility a year. The level, the jiu-jitsu, the coaching Danny Gray, who was not mentioned, is one of the coaches there. His jiu-jitsu is phenomenal. So I can just see it growing, and we're going to get some girls. We've got 2 girls who've just started. This is how it starts. You need a few to get a few. We're going to have a girls team. My wife's mission at the moment. Definitely. And then last thing for you then, Lorna. So this is always a tricky question. I've asked everybody this, and they're always like, "Oh, I don't know." But if it wasn't for jiu-jitsu, what would you be doing? Oh, I'd be in work until about 10 o'clock every night. That's really easy. I've often said that. I think jiu-jitsu has saved me from a life of workaholicism, if that's a word. Because I have a reason to go home and leave every night. I have to be out by a certain time or I won't make it in time for the warm-up. And I'm not a purple belt, so I can't skip the jet. So absolutely, I'd be like a crazy lady. I'd probably drink a fair bit more wine and eat a fair bit more chocolate. I think it'd be a bit chunkier. But yeah, I mean, I have a sort of very sort of fully formed life outside of it in terms of what I do for a living. So just more of that. What have other people said?
Well, other people, do you know what? The other people, I mean, one that kind of stands out is Kevin McAloon. Kevin McAloon said he would be just an absolute fat mess sitting on a couch playing the PlayStation or the Xbox. A lot of other guys as well have said, they've been doing the Xbox or stuff like that. A few people that I've had on a podcast was mentioned that jiu-jitsu saved them because they were going through hard times, through whether it be depression and things like that. So a lot of people have said, a few people have said, look, they couldn't even think about what would have happened to them without jiu-jitsu. So
I think I'd be a lot less confident. It sounds so cliche, but I think jiu-jitsu has forced me to, especially as, the small person that a lot of people don't want to roll with, I have to sort of march up to them and go, oh, no, you don't. You're coming with me. You're rolling with me. I'm afraid I did that tonight. It was with my partner for drilling, and we went to rolling, and I think generally most gyms have etiquette that your first roll is with the person you drilled with. And everyone did that except my guy went and got somebody else. I'm like, hold up. No. Why not? And he's like, I've got someone else. I said, no, you don't.
No, definitely.
Grabbed him by the gi, dragged him back over.
That's the rule.
I went, have some bloody manners. I'm a girl, still a human. I don't think I'd be nearly as confident in those situations. I honestly don't think I would have gotten to where I have in my career either, in terms of the whole white belt mentality, what you call in work, that would be called a growth mindset. They're the same thing, and what you learn in one you can apply to the other. I think to summarise, underconfident, less career developed. Why no?
And then anybody you want to, you kind of shout out, anybody you want to thank, anybody that has been part of your journey.
How long do you have? For sure, Fundamental Health Scotland, as I've said a few times, they just continued support to make me feel like a monster, even though I started as a noodle-armed girl. So that support's incredible. To Rick Young and Johnny Martin, who continue to take me every Friday, just super generous with their time and support me, even though I don't train out of there or represent that gym anymore. and all the girls at Rex, especially, just the best humans. And then obviously James Doolan, Danny Gray, that have just taken me in as their own. I took a big gamble moving out here to come train with them, and it's been totally worthwhile. I'm probably forgetting someone really important. I'm not going to thank God because I don't believe in that.
So no Jesus, but no Jesus mentioned here. So.
No, well, who was it that like said Jesus or something? I know I can't handle that. Actually, just all the people that like comforted me at the start when I found it super hard and the anxiety was so great that like kept me coming back. As much as my first gym wasn't the one for me, Ross Corrigan, if you can call him, he was there, and Roddy Campbell, and they were so good to me in terms of looking after me, encouraging me to get back on the horse. I honestly don't think I would have gotten to the point of being able to go to somewhere like Rex had they not put that time in. So people like that are just the best. That feels a bit cheesy, but those are all the people.
No, listen, you know what is important? I mean, from your early beginnings up to whatever part of your journey you're at, it's always important. Everybody is important throughout your journey. Everybody you meet, everybody you know. You might have one role with someone, but you might have learned something throughout that role. So it's always important remembering the people that have been a part of your journey, just because everybody gives you something a lot different, whether it be
even just your team, like Marcos letting me train for free on that Euros camp was super kind. I remember I said to Chris, what can I get him? He won't take money. He's a vegan. He's cutting weight. Like, what can I get him? And he said, he likes plants. So there's a plant sitting in the gym that I bought him. Unless he killed it. I don't know.
No, listen, I'm sure it's still there. I'm sure, because he's got a few plants in the gym, so I'm sure it's still there somewhere. So, but yeah, Marcos
so
is
things like that.
a nightmare to buy anything for, because as you said, he's not a vegan anymore. He was a vegan for a little bit, or for a good while. He doesn't drink. He doesn't do anything else other than jiu-jitsu, so it's difficult to think of anything to buy Marcos. So
like acai, I don't know. Where'd you get that?
So but no, listen, it's been fantastic to speak to you, Lorna. I've got the benefit I can pretty much speak to you anytime I want, really. So
I wouldn't call that a benefit. I curse. Thank you for having me on. I honestly keep forgetting that this will be available somewhere, which is terrifying because I've chatted to you like I normally would. But thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, listen, anytime. I'd say that I know me and you went back and forward for the last, I don't know, maybe a couple of months, a month or so, try to get in touch with each other. I remember I was going to speak to you when you were in Rome. Obviously we couldn't do it then, and then obviously we seen each other at SGI the other night and said, right, do you know what, we're going to do it on Wednesday. So listen, thanks very much for coming on. As I said, I'm excited to see what you're going to do next. As I say, the last 10-11 months has been an absolute phenomenal 10 or 11 months for you. 2019 has been a special year for you. So 2020, as I said, is going to be an even bigger year. And don't let me, if you want to get on Grapple Fest or Polaris, don't get me to do it, because I tried to get Marcos on Polaris and ended up having a big argument on private messenger with the guy that runs Polaris. So he put a post
and then you turned up at his house or
no, you know what, he put a post up on the Underground, the UK Underground, and he said, who do you want to see on? And everybody bombarded that post with Marcos Nardini, get Marcos Nardini on. And then the guy turned around and said, yeah, we're going to put this other guy on. And we're like, what? Nobody even seen the guys. And I think one person mentioned this guy, and then so I ended up private messaging him, like, mate, what the fuck are you doing, man? Why would you ask anybody if you're not going to put the person on? And he's like, yeah, we'll try and get Marcus on at some point. And I was like, mate, there's no point. Do you know what I mean? You just wasted the opportunity. So I ended up having a big argument. And then Marcus met the guy, and the guy was like, oh, you're Marcos Nardini. Oh, you're the guy. One of you guys had a big argument with me on Facebook Messenger.
And he was like, "Oh, that'll be Stim."
Yeah, so don't get me to do it because definitely don't get me to do it. So, but no, listen, I'm sure you'll get on one of these Grapple Fests or the Polaris or something like that. So, as I say, your name's out there, certainly in Scotland, so everybody knows who you are. They know what you've done. And yeah, next year.
Everyone knows me as that crying girl. That one that cries. She does jiu-jitsu sometimes. I thought that was really funny at SGI. Everyone's like, "Oh, are you competing tonight?" And I was all dolled up.
Yeah, that's...
like, no, obviously not. And then, but the other 60% were like not recognising me, which was hugely offensive.
I don't even know what I was thinking because obviously... But no, I was saying... I don't even know what I was thinking because when I seen you, obviously I didn't. Do you know? See when you see people all the time, or not all the time?
Yeah.
See when you see them through jiu-jitsu, you don't even think. You don't even think that they're all dolled up or whatever. Do you know what I mean? They're like guys.
Yeah.
They're all dressed up to go out, or women are dressed up with makeup and all. You don't see that.
Yeah.
And that's what when I seen you, I just thought, "Are you competing tonight?" And you're like, "No." And then obviously Laura had said, "Oh, she's all dolled up, Stuart. She's got makeup on, hair's done and everything." And I'm like,
I say all dolled up. I was wearing spats and a sports bra and a jumper, right? But I had makeup on.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, people listening to this will think I've turned up in a dress and heels. I absolutely hadn't. I just didn't look a minging. In fact, what was it one of the boys said to me? He's like, "Oh, I don't recognise you, that sweaty hair."
I know, so, but yeah, I didn't even realise, I didn't even notice, because obviously you're just used to seeing people when they're at SGIs or wherever they're going to be competing, or if they're at competitions, you're going to be competing, so you automatically think, yeah, you're competing, so...
yeah, although I said that to James, I was like, "I've got my mouse guard with me, just in case." I was like, there's not even a female fight in the car, but you know, if there's a skinny enough boy, I'll take it. Put me in, coach, put me in. Like,
yeah, definitely. Like Graham McQuiston. Get a Graham McQuiston. Just get in and fight Graham McQuiston. Do you know what I mean?
He is a brown belt as well.
Yeah, that's fine, man. That's fine. Don't worry about the brown belt. We'll do it no gi. You won't even notice the belt. So
I keep saying, people keep joking about this, that I can't get any like girls. I can't get any matches and stuff. So like, who's gonna step up and let me have like a fight with a guy?
Yeah.
I just need a skinny enough guy. Lewis Penny. I'd fight Lewis Penny.
Yeah, yeah.
He's good.
Yeah. There's a few. I mean, Shay Montague.
Oh, right, well, I'm not fighting Shay. No offence to Lewis, but like,
Get
Shay's a world champion and a purple belt. Like,
definitely,
like,
get in and fight Shay. Because if you beat Shay, that'll put you on another level. So...
If I beat Shay, I would have to get all of his belts and the moustache he's currently rocking. Those would be my criteria. But, you know... me growing a moustache like that overnight is as likely as me beating Shay, so that's okay.
Definitely. But listen, it's going to be, as I say, 2020. We're going to see what's coming next for you. So hopefully you do get out, get some of the IBJJF comps that you're talking about. Because I know you were pissed. I remember speaking to you when you'd obviously got your blue belt, and you're like,
"Are we gonna air all of my like dirty laundry with IBJJF right now?"
But do you remember because you messaged me, you're like, why are they asking for another membership fee? And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's because you got a new belt." And you're like, "What? I just fucking paid the membership fee."
Well, yeah, so I'd paid the membership and it lasted me 14 days. and then I had to, that's why I've not done it again, because I refuse to. Mine's just under Rick's because I just can't bring myself to do it 3 times in a year.
Yeah, yeah. But I just remember you were pissed when you messaged me like, "What? Fuck that, I'm not doing another IBJJF comp."
I think
ever again.
I was like, "Screw this, I'll do Naga.
I'll do
want a belt."
So,
and then I didn't do Naga, did I? So
nah, you bit the bullet, bought the membership.
I'd like to think the membership though would cover the medals. So I got 2. So you think the medals? No, they're probably not worth that much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did. I swallowed my annoyance on that. And then they sent me a customer satisfaction survey afterwards, the IBJJF. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, man. I remember the big one was the IBJJF London. I mean, that was the one where it was snowing.
Oh, right.
And I remember the big carry on with that. I mean, IBJJF, I mean, what had happened was the planes got called off, the trains weren't running, buses weren't running, people were getting advised not to drive. But IBJJF said, no, if you can't make it, you're not getting your money back.
Oh, classic. Were you at the one, the Amsterdam, was it this year or last year? The Amsterdam where the medals got caught in customs.
I heard about
so
that.
they were doing podium pictures without medals and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, good old IBJJF. I mean, it doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, there's usually some absolute carry on with IBJJF. So, but no, I'm glad
It gives us something to moan about, eh?
Yeah.
We all like a moan.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm glad you bit the bullet and bought the new membership. So you're going to need to buy a new one. In fact, you'll be due a new one anyway soon.
Yeah.
So
Well, no. I think they're meant to last you a whole 12 months, not just the calendar year now.
So did you you got the new one before you went to Rome then?
Yeah. So I got it for that.
That was
before that.
Last month.
So,
then,
oh, I can't remember. It was longer ago than that. But I've had it a while, but I don't need to do it again soon. And they'll find a reason. They'll find a reason.
Yeah.
I also should change it to be under real grappling soon.
Yeah.
I haven't met Roberto Atala. Yeah, I guess because Rick has his own, it's Rick Young BJJ is what it comes up as, not Mauricio or anything. I'm used to competing under my actual professor's name, so it's quite weird for me to compete under someone I've never met, which I know is what everyone does, other than us. But if I could, compete under James Doolan, that'd be quite nice. So maybe in my head I'll compete under Roberto once I've met him. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Roberto's cool. Roberto's a nice guy. I mean, Roberto comes, as far as I know, he comes to Scotland a few times a year, I think.
Must be true.
He does a lot of the stuff because obviously he comes over and he usually comes to a Scottish grappling competition if there's one on.
Right.
And he'll watch the referees. Do you know what I mean? And he'll just give feedback on the referees and things
Oh,
like that,
that's
which
cool.
is quite good. Because but he's nice guy, Roberto. I mean, real grappling. I mean, they're all over the place. So
enormous. Do you know there's a place on the Real Grappling website where he lists by country and belt all the belts and who he has in them in each country?
Yeah.
And which is amazing. Imagine knowing all your purple, brown, and black belts in every gym in every country in the world and updating that. That's really cool.
Like, some coaches don't even know who trains at their gym. I've seen that. Do you know what I mean? So some coaches have handed out tabs to white belts and then given them a blue belt straight after it. So it has happened. So yeah, for him to know all his belts in certain countries and things like that is unbelievable. Because I say that doesn't happen everywhere. So
pretty cool.
So it's pretty cool. But no, listen, thanks again, Lorna, for obviously taking the time to speak to me tonight. As I said, it's good to hear an insight into your journey, and again, especially if anybody's listening, male or female, and they're looking to get into jiu-jitsu. So it's good to hear from people and how people got into jiu-jitsu and the things that they had to overcome and how they've done it. And so to hear the things that you've done has been absolutely brilliant tonight. So
thank you.
So listen, thank you very much again, but it's been an absolute pleasure.
Best of luck in the MMA.
Listen, I'll be smashing someone. So either
Just
that,
don't burn their car and
anything. Listen, if I don't smash someone, I'm going to get absolutely murdered. So it's going to be one of the two. So it'll be entertaining anyway. So
that's how you sell tickets. That's how you sell it.
Tickets, do you know what I mean? So,
all right.
But listen, thank you again, and we'll see you soon. Hopefully we'll catch up soon. We'll get some time on the mats again. And yeah, listen, thank you again.
Right.
All
Cheers.
Right. Take care then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So guys, that was Lorna Kinnoch. Lorna Kinnoch is a blue belt, as he got a blue belt back in January from Rick Young after taking bronze at the Euros. Come back, I think it was a few days after, I remember her sending me the picture when she got her blue belt. Because obviously I'd been over there. Said she'd messaged me when we were at the Euros, and she said, "Stuart, I've got nobody to corner me. I'm here myself. Can you come over?" So I was staying in. I can't even remember where it was. It was like near Lisbon town centre, the main square. I remember it was like 40 minutes to get to the venue. So I got to the venue just as she was about to go on. And yeah, watched her going through and shouting instructions to her, the time and things like that. So as you do. And then she won bronze medal. As I say, she didn't even know she'd won bronze. She thought she'd been beat and that was it over. But I was like, you know what? It's because there were so many in the venue and in the category, and I'm shouting, "You've won a bronze medal." And she's like, "What? No, I haven't." And then once it clicked on, obviously she was a flood of emotions, which was good to see. As I said, a white belt, so bronze medal at white belt. And then the things she's done throughout the year, obviously the big one, SGI, where she fought Lisa from BJJ. And as she mentioned there, Lisa had obviously beat her by quite a margin as a white belt, and then obviously to come up against Lisa as a blue belt, obviously she had obviously the anxieties and stuff like that she mentioned because of that defeat that she got. She came out and she obviously won by submission, and obviously went to Rome. She won silver medal in Rome, and yeah, she's taking that time out this year. She's not going to the Euros in 2020. Obviously, the pact she made with her family was she would have a year on, a year off, spend a year with the family 1 year, go to the Euros the next year, and so on and so on. So we're not going to see her at the Euros this year, but obviously the year after we will. She's talking about big things, 2020. Hopefully getting some IBJJF comps, maybe the British, Amsterdam, there's a couple in London. And a few other ones that she's got her eyes on. So hopefully get her onto some invitationals as well, submission onlys. One thing Lorna does do is she goes for the submission. And as she's been very, very successful doing that this year. So definitely big things to come from Lorna. You obviously may heard her talking about sports psychology. So she got a sports psychologist to kind of help her with more her anxieties in regards to competing, and obviously a sports nutritionist as well to help her with a kind of eating plan and stuff like that, help cut weight and do it kind of in a sensible manner rather than cutting weight days before competitions and things like that. So definitely great to hear from Lorna, and yeah, we're going to see more from her next year, so keep an eye out for that. So listen guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.